What is up, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and I'm just gonna say I was ready for it. I knew it was gonna happen. The Bears still suck. Uh, and that being the case, we're just going to go ahead and launch into our spiel that we always do. SAJ, Loudmouth of the South, coming to you live from I don't even have a place. We're just gonna go
No,
with forward today because
no.
I've got a little bit of a doggy Olympics going on. We have the new pup that you guys all met, and he's tearing it up with one of the old puppies,
Oh,
and
lovely.
it's all time.
What is up? I'm BD, and you know what? Today I'm coming from. I don't think we've done this before, and I'm kind of surprised. But today I'm going to be coming from the Pistol Pete's Pizza Studios.
You know what? That is really surprising because we should have talked about that because I mean they haven't had Pistol Pete's here in forever,
I know.
and
Dude, I remember going to my freaking end of season like basketball like get together where we all got our trophies and stuff there. When I was like 8 years old or whatever.
yeah, it it's a special place, you know. I definitely remember the one on Walls, and we went there a couple of times ourselves. Um, and yeah, man, it was an interesting place. But we're not necessarily here to talk about interesting places. We're here to talk about football. So, let's go ahead and get into it. The obviously we just got done with playoff weekend, and there were a couple of surprises, but how did we do on our picks, BD?
So I went 3-1. The only one that I got wrong was the I picked the Bills over the Broncos. So, and I don't exactly remember who all you picked.
Let me go back and I'll tell you who I picked. Because I knew we were going to talk about this at some point. Divisional playoff games. Come on, come on. I believe I picked the Bills over the Broncos. Um, what is up, Sister Jackie? Um, I believe I picked the Seahawks over the Niners.
Yeah.
Um, I think I picked the Texans over the Patriots though.
Okay.
I I think I was going for long shot weekend. And then I picked the Rams over the Bears.
Of course you
So
did.
of course I did. But I told you, or did I? No, I think I picked the Bears. I think I did pick the Bears last
You know
weekend.
what you made? You
That
know
was
what? I think you did. Actually, I think you did.
yeah.
So you were
And
what 1-3 over the weekend? Then
1-3 over the weekend. But that was also again, I mean, there were some surprises in those games. So, oh, and also with you, Sister Jackie.
so I'm
So,
so I'm 8-2 for the playoffs right now. The only two I've gotten wrong is I picked the Packers week 1 and obviously the Bills last week. So
yeah, you're not allowed to pick the Packers for anything anymore,
I'm
ever
gonna
again.
pick the Packers for everything.
Not going to happen, sir. There will be there will be flying chanclas in your future if you do that. I promise you. Okay. Um,
So how
yeah.
did you watch all the games this weekend?
No, I watched the only game I really got to watch very much. In fact, no, I didn't really watch much of any football. It was just a very busy week this weekend. And with everything going on, there's just no way I could, necessarily tune in and watch all the different games. However,
Well,
I
you didn't
did
miss
watch
you didn't miss anything with the Seahawks and 49ers and I mean even the Texans and Patriots. I mean that was a 12-point game and it felt like it was like a 120-point game because it was just terrible. But Bills, Broncos, Rams, Bears, really good games, both of them.
Yeah, that one I did watch. I watched the last uh 2 minutes of that game when they were in overtime because I was
Which
trying to
which one? Both of
throughout
them
the
went to
day.
overtime.
No, no, just the Bears game.
Oh, okay.
Um, I was watching updates throughout the game, but I wasn't really locking too much in just because, I mean, we had a lot going on. We had family dinner and all that other good stuff, and it was just difficult to try and get to that point where you could pay attention to what's going on.
I mean, I know
But
you were obviously rooting for the Rams, hate watching the Bears. Uh, did you
oh
see
yeah,
Caleb's fourth down pass in the fourth quarter descended to overtime? His
no, I saw
his
the
fourth,
highlights of it
his fourth and
afterwards.
four, 14-yard pass. It was actually like a 34-yard pass. That I mean that pass was the epitome of F it. I've got a receiver down there somewhere.
Yeah, and that's cute and everything. Um, in that regard, like we've known other quarterbacks that have relied on that also. And granted, yeah, it's turned out good for several of them, but that's not necessarily skill. That is, toss it up and hope for the
I
best.
mean, it is. But
Okay.
when you've got a receiver that like is I don't know 8 inches taller than the guy guarding him, you kind of it gives you a little advantage. I mean, hell, that's how Johnny Manziel made his living at A&M with Mike Evans. So
Yeah, I mean, I can get behind what you're saying, but it still doesn't to me it doesn't tell me that Caleb is this great quarterback. Um, I don't know, man. I hate watched it, and I've said it before. I will give credit where credit is due. There were some things that he did in this game that was really surprising, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I think there was just as much luck as there was skill. Uh, what I do know though is
I mean,
that
is it luck though if it keeps happening constantly all season long?
it
I
doesn't keep
mean,
happening though.
it did up until Saturday night or Sunday night, but
Um, yeah, I mean, I got to give you that. That is true. So yeah, maybe I don't know. Forget him. He's a bear. I don't care. I will say that already the season next year is going to look completely different, right? We lost Halfley to Miami.
yep.
We're gonna lose Willis somewhere. Don't know where. I've heard rumors, which really is just fan speculation and people pushing. But I've heard rumor that Miami may push to get Willis, which would be a good combination. Halfley has experience with Willis, and it it may
I
not
mean,
be a
I,
bad
I
fit
I
for
know
Miami.
that you're all in love with him, and he's the shiny object for you Packers fans because he's not Jordan Love. Willis is not a starting quarterback in this league.
You say that, but you
He's
compare his
he's
numbers
played
to
he's
Jordan
played
Love's.
okay. He's played okay, and when he's had to, but he is not a season long starter. Maybe he could play a few games and get and become that, but right now, no way.
Okay. When your quarterback gets to the postseason, come talk to me. Okay. That's a shot at your boy.
Hey, you know what? I don't think my quarterback's a
Um,
starter in the league either. So
Willis, you're not necessarily wrong. I mean, the last 2 seasons, he's not played full seasons. He has, however, played good football in those seasons that he's played. So is it a fair statement to say that he's a great quarterback and he's deserving of a starting position? Not really my place to say. Stats are stats, stats don't lie, but stats also are not necessarily unbiased because, again, things like quarterback rating are based on the amount of games that you've played, not the amount of games that have been played total in your tenure, right? Jordan Love's obviously played a lot more games. So the incomplete passes that he's made are going to hurt him much more than the incomplete passes that Malik Willis has, made potentially, right? Because again, apples and oranges. So I don't know where Willis is going. I'm excited for his future. Hopefully he goes somewhere and just blows it up. And then when BD and I have this conversation again, he'll finally admit that he was wrong and I was right, which is never going to
Never happened.
happen.
Never
And so
happened.
I'll probably
I
be
mean,
waiting for
you have to be right for me to admit you're right. So
okay. Well, we'll see how all that goes this next season. But I
Speaking
do know
of
Miami.
quarterbacks, I want to get your opinion. I know it's been some of the chatter kind of this week. Josh Allen, who great quarterback, makes amazing plays, but hasn't won in the playoffs. This last game, two interceptions, two fumbles. I mean, one interception. Did you see that interception, the controversial one for one?
I saw the highlights of it. Hang on real
Okay.
quick.
Okay. Well, he's going away. I was asking him a question, but I let's see. Oh, he's coming back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I'm
So
sorry. The dog knocked over a coffee cup and was enjoying himself a little latte.
he'll just be a little more hyper for the evening. But there's a lot of
Well, that's good.
Josh Allen who's not won in the playoffs. Obviously, conference championship last year.
Mhm.
For the longest time was never won on the road and stuff like that. And then this game in Denver had a bad game. Um, you know, Obviously the Bills moved on from their coach. Do you think they may entertain the possibility of moving on from their quarterback? You know, is there a bit
I
of Dak Prescott-ness to them of can't win the big games?
I think that it's starting to creep up into the equation, but I don't quite think we're at the point where we're willing to sell the farm and send him downstream. Now, that being said, there is still quite a bit of trade capital with him. So it does beg the thought of should you maybe cash in on that now and get a younger guy and start grooming him to, you know, kind of take the helm, or what do you do? Because at some point Allen is going to get a little too old for his shenanigans. He is going to suffer a major injury, and then what do you do then? Right? Then you've got a Micah Parsons, lots of
Yeah.
money, three broken wheels, right? Um, so yeah, I really think that this is more a question of what direction the head coach is going to want to go in as far as does Allen stick around.
Now I'll
Now,
tell
I
you,
will say
I
though,
was shocked as hell that they fired Sean McDermott. You know,
yeah, that
I
was weird.
I I'm not surprised that there was a firing in the organization or in the coaching staff, because after a game like that, like somebody's got to go. But I would have figured it would have been like a defensive coordinator or something like that. Not one of
Yeah.
your main guys. Certainly, sure as hell not your head coach. Now,
Oh
here's my
yeah.
question: how much do you think Harbaugh and Stefanski are regretting signing with the Giants and Atlanta now that the Bills job is open?
There might be a little bit of regret there. I don't know that there's a lot, however, right? First and foremost, they're going to get the bag, right? And so they're going to get paid to go out there and do what they do. They're going to have a very big amount of influence on who they bring in to kind of start building that team with and whatever. And they're going to get their guys, right? Maybe not all at once, but they're going to get their guys and they're going to be able to build a pretty decent team, all things considered. and they should have relatively open pocketbooks. I mean, I would think that, you know, their cap would be pretty low, all things considered. Um, so I don't know that they maybe like, that's probably puts us a little bit closer to you know, one or two more guys and we're in kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they've got time, right? It's not like they're 100 years old waiting for their first opportunity to go to the big dance. Um, Again, that being the case, I would have to say that there may be a little bit of regret because not having all the talent that the Bills necessarily do. But on the same token, they'll be able to put a team together that they want and win on their strategy with their guys. And that probably means a little bit more to a head coach.
Yeah,
So,
I saw an interesting thing today about Harbaugh because there was kind of some delays in announcing him. They turned out they announced that they were working out a deal or he was close, and then it took a little while. Said they were kind of working out some kinks in the deal. Well, apparently the kinks in the deal was Harbaugh would not report to the general manager; he would report to the owner. Which is kind of an issue. Which I heard was kind of the same scenario he had with the Ravens, but like, what's your general manager if your head coach doesn't report to your GM? You know,
um,
that's kind of that's kind of weird to me.
it sounds like he's more like a puppet figure than anything, you know, just because if your personnel is not reporting the way that they're supposed to, that creates all kinds of anarchy,
Yeah,
right? People are used to a certain structure in an organization. I mean, even the Packers, we still have a general manager, we have a head coach, we have a this, that, or the other thing. Um, we just don't have an owner. And so now your coach is bypassing the general manager and going straight to the owner. Like, ah, you know, that's weird.
yeah, yeah. I
So
read that. I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, hey, you
yeah,
know what? If kind of it works for everyone, but it's a weird kind of hierarchy that you don't normally see.
it kind of doesn't seem right. I mean, maybe it's just me, but it doesn't seem natural. So I don't know. Anyways, so
I did before we get out of the Bills Broncos game. So did you see you saw the controversial catch slash
uh,
interception slash what do
I
you
saw the
think?
highlights of it. I don't think it was an interception because I think he was down by contact on the ground.
Okay,
He had possession of the ball when he was on his back, contact, down by contact.
I'm going to disagree with you because again, this goes back to the whole process of the catch. He he caught the ball. He had made his two steps, but then he started going to the ground. He never made the football move, the third step, the reach, the in anything that they're asking for to make a football move to complete the catch. At that point, the defender ripped the ball out of his hands. If the ball had hit the ground, it would have been an incomplete pass because the receiver never maintained full possession, never completed the catch. So because the ball was ripped out and then the defender ended up with it, the defender was the one who completed the catch. It was an interception. So
I could I can see where you're coming from with that. I
that
can.
and that's kind of because I was where you were when it first happened. I was like, man, that looked like a catch. And then you kind of go through the whole process of everything. And then that's kind of what sold me is if the ball had hit the ground, it would have been an incomplete because he didn't go through the whole process. Now, while I think that it was a correct call, I am absolutely shocked that they did not stop the game to review that play. And I think that was an absolute disservice and a failure in the officiating that they didn't stop. I know they said they had their expedited review and all that stuff, but you know what? A play like that's that close, you got to stop the game and actually go under the hood to review it. So I understand. I
Yeah.
understand why Buffalo fans are pissed about it, But I think ultimately the correct call was made. But you got to look at it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you can't, especially with a game that important, you cannot just use the whole, oh, we have expedited review,
Yeah,
Blandino, okay, cool, right? Like that has to be broken down, and that the whole staff really kind of has to agree on, and it's kind of up to the head judge to sell it. You know what I mean? If he's the one that's saying, "Hey, that's an interception," okay, well, why is it an interception? Tell me, sell it to me, show me,
yeah,
right? So I get where you're coming from with it. I again still stick by the possession being part of that, the two steps, the going down. He had possession of the ball as he was going down, touched the ground with the ball. That should have been, down by contact right there. However, based on your description, had it been any other, like if it was only one step or if he caught it in the air while he was going down, yeah, 100%. That's clear, right? Because this is kind of a little bit of a gray area, I can see why that's, such a controversial thing. And because it influenced how the game went.
yeah,
That's that's another problem. But at this point, there really isn't much that can be done about it other than, just remind people to do what they need to do on the field, make sure that you keep possession of the ball and down it, right? So I don't know. I really don't know what you can say about that. Um,
you know, people who say I don't know what I can say about it. I think that's how Texans fans feel about CJ Stroud.
uh, I feel so bad for the Texans fans, especially the ones here in San Antonio, because they've been waiting for a while to try and make sure that, Stroud has gotten everything that he's needed to be able to be successful. And it just is not working, man. It just is not working. So let me ask you, right? Does Stroud have a little bit of the Prescott in him? Should the Texans be shopping him out? Or what do you think that they should do with Mr. CJ?
You know, maybe not after this season because I will say Stroud was basically throwing to the equipment manager because his top two receivers were out. But that doesn't excuse some of the throws that he made, or even like the fumbles that he had and stuff like that. So, uh, but Troy Aikman made a great comment. Actually, I don't know if you heard this. He said basically CJ Stroud has been trying to chase his rookie year these last 2 years and is not even close to reaching it or to getting to that point. Um,
That is
I
a
would
that
say
is
I would give him one more year because I think, I mean, I forget how the whole like options work because I mean it was only his third year.
mhm.
You know, he had a terrible offensive line all season long. He didn't have a great running game. The starting running back got hurt first, and then he's really had inconsistent receivers out there, just injuries and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But again, he's making bad decisions. But I would still give him another year. Give him another year to see if he can kind of iron some of that stuff out, uh, make some better reads. But if he doesn't get it next year, I would start looking for somebody else if I was Houston.
Yeah. I fully support that. Just like the Josh Allen thing. I was gonna say earlier, I don't know that it's necessarily time to kind of start farming him out, but I'd have the same conversation with him as I have with CJ, as I'd have with Jordan Love. My guy, you're getting paid a lot of money to produce results.
Yeah.
Start producing results or start packing your bags, right? The same conversation that should be had with Matt LaFleur, you know? And I think we talked about that one last
We
week.
did. We did last week. And I know you wanted him You supported him staying, which apparently he stayed because he worked out a contract extension. Which
Mhm.
how does that? You can't really tell a coach, hey, you need to show up and be better when you give him an extension. You know, so
Right, right. That's a little bit tough, but um, if they would have given him an extension, a renegotiation extension, um, then you know I could understand that. Basically telling him, "Hey, look, man, we're going to sign a contract with you, but we're changing the deal of your contract." It is, hey, sorry, hang on real quick.
oh geez, um, yeah, and I don't know what his contract was, but what the terms were, what the terms are. So can't look that up though.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't get puppies. Okay. Just don't. They're the worst. Come here. He's the absolute worst. He's a doll, but he is a jerk. Anyways, what were we talking about? Um,
LaFleur, his contract. So
yes.
what do you know what was on his contract before?
I don't remember, but I know he got an extension, and so it's basically the same deal, maybe a little bit more money. And that's the part I kind of have a problem with because his contract should have been restructured, not an extension, but a restructuring and saying, "Hey, look, man, we're going to change some things up because we need you to start winning. And if you ain't going to win, we ain't paying you money."
So
You know?
he had 1 year left. So the 2026 season would have been his last under the current contract. Which what, if it's me, hey, coach yourself into a new contract, into a better contract, into a great contract.
Yeah,
But I guess they didn't. He didn't want to have a lame duck season or whatever. But I mean, and if he sucks next year, they can just fire him anyways. It'd be like the Raiders
yeah,
who was paying 10 different coaches to not coach the team.
yeah. I mean, if that was the case, then I should have applied.
Yeah, right.
Because I could
Hey, you
use
know
that
what?
money.
I will gladly take money to not coach any teams out there. Any teams don't want me to coach them, just give me money. I
There
will
you go.
gladly accept it.
Yep. Here's your favorite fair weather fan. So,
Go home birds. Go to Cancun like the rest of the NFC East teams.
yep,
Yes, yes.
yep. So, anyways, yeah, the contract. So we've got that looming over us. We've got Micah Parsons, um, our most recent signing. We let go today, right?
I mean,
Which
you picked
was
him
absolutely
off
fine.
waivers for one game. He played like two plays and he got burned on one of them. So it's
So
not like it was a big loss.
no, but we paid him money to do nothing. I could have found many other guys that were cheaper that we could have paid to do nothing. Hell, they could
Hey,
have paid me.
you know what? You want to pay me to not coach a team? I'll take that. You want to pay me to do nothing? I do. I could have gotten burned just like Diggs did on that play.
Yep,
I could have done the same thing, like half the price. A quarter of
yep,
the price.
exactly. So yeah, I've got a bad feeling the next couple of years. I mean, there are a bunch of Bears fans online talking trash and how horrible the Packers are, blah blah blah, whatever. And I hate to say it, but I think they're right. Like we are going to be in for a couple of seasons of woe before we ever get a chance to kind of right the ship again. So we'll have to see how that all works out. But uh oh wow, you saw that?
I did. I
No,
ignored it.
we don't want it. Okay,
I mean, Jerry would
so
probably do something stupid like that.
definitely. Okay, so we've got conference championships this weekend. Patriots at the Broncos, which it is at the Broncos,
It is
right?
at the Broncos, but I mean, Broncos without Bo Nix, who broke his ankle on one of the last plays of the game. I
Yeah.
mean, just honestly, I really like. I feel bad for the kid. I feel bad for the Broncos because like that's just such a crappy way to lose your quarterback. In a I don't even
Yeah. And potentially
yeah I
end your
don't even
season.
like know what play happened. I didn't see any highlights or whatever, but just absolutely insane that it happened. Uh, Now they've got Jared Stidham, the backup quarterback who used to play for the Patriots, and they've got a hell of a defense. So if they dumb down the offense, I mean Harvey's fantastic out of the backfield, just make some quick easy passes. You know, I could see the Broncos winning. I mean, they'd have to play an absolutely perfect game. Now, did you see Nick Foles' tweet to the Broncos?
I saw something about it and I cannot remember
It
for the life of me what
was
it was.
yeah, and so right here, Jeremy's comment right here is Nick Foles tweeted, basically I feel bad for the Broncos, it sucks, blah blah blah, but on the other hand, they uh they have a history of losing to backup quarterbacks in championship games.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it fits, you know. So it's going to be an interesting game. I guarantee you that. Um, we should have hopefully some really solid games this weekend. The Rams, I'm not so sure that that is going to be that interesting of a game though, because Seattle pretty much almost seems like the juggernaut Seattle Lynch and Legion of Boom and all this craziness. Um, I will say stats wise, uh, they're really super close. Points per game. There's a little bit of a gap when it comes to yards per game, but pretty much everything else is like dead on. So we'll have to wait and see. You
Yeah, and
know,
I think because obviously it's division opponents, which is crazy. That a conference championship is your division opponent, which is pretty cool for your NFC West. Um, I think that the Seahawks won both of the games uh, that they played.
yeah.
I'm kind of looking. Oh, what the hell? This is all kinds of weird. Uh Sorry, I'm trying to look back at the schedule and see who but yeah, so the I'm pretty sure Seattle won. I know they won the last one because that's what gave them the division lead. But we know how hard it is for a division opponent to beat, or a division team to beat our opponent three times in a season. Uh, McVay's a great coach. Uh, Stafford is a great quarterback. Both of them veterans. You know, the Seattle coach, this is his first year. So he doesn't know the pressure of it. Darnold, this is his first experience in a conference championship game. He doesn't know the pressure of it. Now, once again, Seattle has a fantastic defense, so that takes a lot of the pressure off of Sam Darnold and the coach. But I don't know. I think the Rams, they have a little bit more experience, and I think that'll help them out a lot in this game.
So it's interesting that you say that. I looked at the schedule. Week 16, uh, the Rams lost in overtime to Seattle 38-37. And then week 11 they played, and the Seahawks lost
Okay,
19
so
to
they're 1-1
21.
for the season.
So yeah, but they were
Yeah.
extremely close games. And so that is going to be really hard to pick. And I would say, based on experience, it probably would go to LA. I mean, they've been there before. This is not, this is not necessarily new for the whole squad. However, Seattle's pretty
They
damn
are.
good. So I'm gonna say I'm hopeful that this is not like any of the other games that Seattle has played as of late, where it's just an absolute nightmare of a blowout, right? Because then
Yeah.
what's the point?
I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's
But it
going to
should
be
be
a
good fun.
blowout at all. But
I don't think so. Or I mean, I hope not. I don't really know. At this point, I don't even wish to offer speculation, right?
well, you don't have to offer
Um,
speculation, but you do have to offer a pick. So who you got?
I vote yes. There will be football played this weekend. I vote present. No, I'm gonna take the Patriots because of the Bo Nix thing. Uh, and I'll probably be wrong, and I'm gonna take Seattle.
You're going to take
So
Seattle.
yeah. So
I want to pick the Broncos so bad. I really do. Because it's just that kind of year that that a backup quarterback would win with the
mhm.
defense.
Oh
But I'm
yeah.
going to pick the Patriots.
Yeah,
And
this is the year where nothing makes sense at all.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So why not a backup quarterback go to the Super Bowl? You know,
Yeah, why
uh,
not?
so I'm taking the Patriots and I'm taking the Rams. I'm gonna take both road teams this week.
Okay. Well, we roll the dice and see how it works out, man. Um, Speaking of rolling of the dice, that that NC or the NCAA national championship game was pretty interesting, wasn't it?
Dude, that was it was what 10-0 at halftime. Indiana. You just kind of thought that. Uh, oh yeah. Um, you just kind of thought that Indiana was gonna just roll over Miami in that second half. Just kind of the way that first half went, but I mean that second half. I mean the Miami came back with a vengeance, and they kind of changed their plan, their defensive strategy. Uh, Made Mendoza kind of run for his life a little bit more. And dude, it was a hell of a game. Like it was, I was actually hoping that Indiana or somebody would just run away with it, and I could go to bed early in the fourth quarter because I was kind of tired. But
Yeah.
it was a fantastic game. I just had to stay up and watch the whole damn thing. But you said roll the dice. I mean, that's exactly what Indiana did on that fourth down play in the middle of the fourth quarter. Just, I mean, a hell of a decision to go for it for one, and then Mendoza that run and stop and move over and dive and jump and just get smacked the hell in the air. It was just that was one of those the quintessential just highlight plays that that play is going to be seen on his resume for the rest of his life. You know,
You're not wrong. Um, it was it was a game. It was definitely a game. Um, you know, the Hurricanes definitely uh didn't. I mean, it's basically it's kind of like going up against that you know, your first real heavyweight, like your first real competitive boxing match, right? You get hit, you get hit hard, and it hurts. And the world's kind of fuzzy for a little bit, but you don't fall. You stay on your feet. You keep digging. And then eventually that heavyweight starts getting tired and he stops punching so hard and it doesn't hurt as much. And then that gives you fuel to start trying to come back. Now, granted, then you get enough fuel to get the win at the end, but at
it's
you know,
close. I mean that
seven,
that
6 point
that
loss.
interception. If it was like I don't know, a yard higher maybe or something like that, it would have been a touchdown. It would have been a touchdown to win the game. So,
Yeah. So for as far as championship games go, this is, I think, what the intent was,
yeah.
and I think we got our money's worth.
Oh, absolutely. It really, for the
So
most part, it was a great playoff. There were a couple blowouts. Indiana and Oregon last, the round before. Um, the Texas Tech, 0 points, whatever. There were a few blowouts and stuff, but really, a lot of the games were really close and just really good games and just really good football. Which I mean, this is exactly what you want.
yeah. So college football is now officially done. That goes back in the toy box. We play with that next year. Moving on to right alternative football is up next. So we saw this week that there was kind of a soft reveal as far as the newly designed helmets. Most of them were received okay. Shout out to XFL Mike G and the
You're
Alternative
talking? Are
Football
you are you
Network.
are you talking UFL?
Yeah, UFL. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
Um, and again, XFL Mike G and Alternative Football Network, all those guys over there, they did some polling, kind of thinking what people are thinking about the helmets and stuff like that. There's also some other people that close to the UFL, like State of the Stallions, that did some reporting also. And overall, I would say the helmets have been met with mixed reviews. Some people are happy, some people are not very happy at all, especially the Stallions fans. But most of the fans are just kind of meh, right? I'm not seeing like this huge, overwhelming response and huge, overwhelming support for these newly designed helmets and everything. Truth be told, they don't look that much different, right? And really, what can you do with the helmets? But
Yeah.
I don't see that much of a difference being done with them. I think people at this point were probably a little more interested in seeing the entire
So did you
uniforms,
see? Did you
right?
see that the
Officially
the,
be
the
released.
leak of the new uniforms that Rapoli tweeted out?
Yeah, yeah, you can't really see
No,
much
not
in that.
really.
You can see basic colors, and two of them look identical,
Yeah,
right? Um, that's why I'm saying I can't really base anything on the picture. Um, and then the powder blue Renegades are now the powder blue Aviators, you know? So it's like, hey, you two, switch uniforms real quick, you know? So I don't know, man. I do know the State of the Stallions has not been very kind and not been very supportive of Mike Rapoli and the decisions that have been made. And it seems like the fan base is kind of feeling the same way. They're feeling kind of hurt and dejected and whatever else. And to that I say, Mike Rapoli, told you so. I'm going to Stephen A. Smith that one, right? We told you, make sure you're paying attention to which teams that you're cutting out and stuff like that,
yeah.
because I don't think you're well, I mean, yeah, granted, you worked out a heck of a deal with the city of Birmingham, and you're getting that stadium for like pennies, okay? But you're also bringing in pennies. So, maybe should have done a little bit more market research. That's all I'm saying. So, but again, I also don't want to bash the league all night long and just be that guy. For our friends that are involved in it still, and for the players that we know that have been reallocated and sent to other teams and stuff, I do hope nothing but the best for him. Like Jay Will's going to St. Louis, which I
Kind
would
of hurt. Kind of hurts a little bit.
it hurts a lot, and I would love to know what his thoughts are on it. I'm not going to speak for him, um, but I think at the end of the day, he's hired to do a job, and he's going to do
Yeah.
that job well, right? So in that regard, I do hope nothing but the best for these guys, in spite of Mike Rapoli. And I do hope nothing but the best for the fans. I do hope the fans continue to support even the Birmingham people, right? I know you're not liking the colors and you're not liking how the team's being treated and these other things. But please continue to support it, because if you don't and it goes away, I mean, that's just going to make you guys look even worse, right? So let's just try, or give it a chance. Okay. Um, so switching things around, we are now going to talk about because I'm sure all of you guys saw, right? We covered the over in the Continental Football League, we covered the Toros meet and greet, which was an absolutely phenomenal event. Now, my twin brother over here was not able to make it because
It
he's a
was not.
smart man and he had committed some plans with Mama, and Mama said, "You're going," and he said, "Yes, ma'am." So very proud of him. Okay, but we did get to hang out with a whole bunch of people. We got to watch history in the making and some very exciting things that kind of came about that whole thing. So, Brian, how much of that live feed and we did learn something from that live feed also. And I'll talk about it in just a second. But how much of that live feed did you actually get to see?
Honestly, I really did not see that much of it. I was busy, like I said, doing birthday party stuff, doing dad stuff, dropping kids off at work, and running back and forth. So, fortunately, I jumped on for a little bit. Kind of had a hard time, kind of hearing you with all the noise and everything. So, but
Mhm.
uh, I really did not catch too much of it. So you're gonna have to catch me up.
Okay. So first and foremost, the very first thing we learned right off the bat is that we are grossly and inadequately set up for a mobile feed. Okay. We don't have the directional mics that we need. We didn't take background noise and stuff into consideration. Um, Bluetooth headsets should be tested beforehand if you're going to go remote from your phone, like a couple of different things. So it was it was an effort in futility, and I thank you all for everybody that watched. We did get some great feed from some of the signings and everything. Uh, but uh, there there was just a lot of really good stuff. First and foremost, um, the organization, the event was turned out bigger than what I thought. I thought there was going to be about maybe 100, people there total. Um, I think in total they had probably about 350 come through,
Oh wow.
right? Now, granted, some of it is, people that we know, a lot of people that we know were there. But they also had free food and some merch giveaway, and you know, nothing built a crowd like free,
I
right?
mean that's how you get people to come. Free stuff, free food, free stuff.
Yep.
You want to draw a
So,
crowd in San
um,
Antonio? That's absolutely how you do it.
yes. Now, I did get to meet some new members of the staff and everything like that. We did get to meet the marketing director and the PR team and some familiar faces and some really great people that we got to deal with. That was really a lot of fun. Here is the San Antonio history part, right? They had members of the 1969 league championship San Antonio Toros at this event. Okay. There was one gentleman that I got the privilege of talking to. I did not catch his name. That's why I wanted to make sure I brought him up. Uh, he played with the team, uh, but he wasn't part of the team when they won, right? So he had connections with a lot of the players there, and so he wanted to come out and show his support. Um, and just all around bunch of great guys, right? So the history in the making part. The long snapper for UTSA, who just graduated from UTSA, has signed with the San Antonio Toros. Why is that a big deal? First of all, it's a local kid, UTSA kid, uh, bringing some recognizable faces to the team. Um, but that's not the only reason why that's a big deal. The real big deal behind it is that, and his name is, oh, what the heck? It's Cade, something, something, something. And I'll find it here in a second. They signed Cade, whatever. Anyways, I'll get to it in a bit, and I apologize. I thought for sure I was going to bring it up, so I didn't take the notes on it. But his grandfather was on the 1969 San Antonio Torres team, right? So history kind of repeating itself, looping or closing the circle, if you will. So
Cade Collenbach.
there you go, Colin back.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Colin back, but then I started thinking Hasselbeck, and then I was like, no, that's not right. And then I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just going to leave it be. Um, they did also sign a second player there, and so super excited. Leo Seitz is his grandfather, by the way, is Cade's
Yeah.
grandfather. So if you know anything about Leo Seitz, he's very well connected with the city. Obviously, he played here. He's a lineman's coach here. Looks like he was that lineman coach for Fox Tech. Um, it's just this team is just oozing San Antonio
Yeah.
already.
Which is
They
great.
just started. Hmm? Um, got to talk to Coach Bedwell, which I'm going to be honest. I was very surprised, that our little media podcast was able to sit down with Coach Bedwell. And at some point in the very near future, we're actually going to have him on and we're going to interview him. And be ready because this cat knows football.
Oh hell yeah.
Amazing, amazing resource. I can't believe we landed him. So, but he talked football with me. We had a great time. We got to hang out with the this SA Snap Count podcast, a whole bunch of people that were there having a good old time. And it was a huge turnout. And uh, again, San Antonio made their first two signings. Well, technically, first two signings like live and in person. They had already made a few signings before that. Um, like they have Nate Hayden at quarterback and Miko Dodson at defensive back. And you can find all these folks on the San Antonio Torres Facebook page, but
Yep.
definitely do your research because, uh, like the quarterback, for example, Hayden brings a wealth of knowledge, right? Um, and it's not going to be like just some dude. Like this guy has football experience. So he's going to bring a level of professionalism in and a level of execution that we need to be ready for. This is not just, you know, young dudes. Hey, good to see you. This is not just some young dudes that are going to be throwing the ball around in the park or anything like that. These are consummate professionals, and they're going to be bringing their A game
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
they are definitely trying to establish this product here, not just in San Antonio, but across the United States and get eyes on them because the whole object of this game or the whole object of this league is to help fine tune athletes and promote them so they can
And,
move
and
on with their
get
career.
more tape, like we've been saying. Any of these leagues, just to get
Yep.
tape out there, show what you can do to move on to the next level.
Yep. So again, the event was absolutely phenomenal. We had a great time hanging out with everybody, Jen and everybody else on staff. I got to meet a couple of people I didn't even know. Like I didn't know that they had that position and that person in that position. And so like I got a wealth of knowledge from this event
Yep.
and was extremely impressed. Not that I wouldn't have been, uh, but I was extremely impressed with how organized they are. This is again not some fly-by-night organization. They're not trying to put something together, by the skin of their teeth and just hope that it makes it. This has been planned out, and they are going to execute at a very high level. And I'm pretty darn sure, as long as we get out and do our part, this is going to be around for quite a while. So, uh, side note, we didn't get to talk about it though. I got to meet Quincy Workman in person
Oh, nice.
because Quincy Workman, the owner of a Texas syndicate, he's not going to let Big Brother upstage his little upstart team. So he had to come up and make a little bit of noise. And so I got to sit down and hang out with him. Phenomenal. As cool as he was in our interview,
Yeah.
even better in person.
Well, that's
Phenomenal,
awesome.
phenomenal stand-up man. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm really bummed I had to miss it, but like I said, tell the wife you're going to do something. You got to do it. So
you absolutely, you're a smart man for doing it because that could have been very, very ugly for you, right? Uh, now we were talking about Texas Syndicate, right?
yeah, there's some news with them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, their coach had to take a step down for some personal reasons. And I think we had talked about that. We were wishing, that coach
Yeah,
nothing but the best of luck. But in the meantime, Coach Champagne has stepped up to be their head coach. And that's a good choice too, right?
it is.
Uh, as much fun as you know this league is turning out to be, this again is not just some average hey whatever, right? All these moves are being well planned out. Everything is being well taken care of, and everything is being closely monitored. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, Texas Syndicate, you see everything that's going on their Facebook page. They're sharing all the signings that they're doing. I'm having a hard time keeping up with everybody. I really am. Everybody that they're signing, I'm having a hard time, vetting these guys and doing research on them and seeing how the defense and offense and everything is going to stack up because they're doing so much and there's so much in the public. Josh and company with San Antonio Toros falling right in line. They're doing the same thing, right? We're getting hit with updates pretty much every couple of days now, and it's only going to get more. Uh, Also, in the news, if you haven't seen it, there was an announcement that the San Angelo Sidewinders have officially been removed from the COFL. And there's no, I mean, it's all out there, right? They stopped communicating. There's been no responses from them. You saw nothing as far as media updates or anything going on, or joint practices, or showcases, any of that other stuff. And the league decided you're not our team,
Yeah,
so they
I mean,
cut them.
if you're gonna be like that, then what are you actually doing? So
So here's some info about
well, that's awesome.
yeah, Coach Champagne. And I don't know that we've had the pleasure of interviewing him, but we will definitely get him on the show because I want to talk to him also.
Yeah.
Uh it's going to be, man, I'm telling you, these two Texas teams, if we continue making signings and making moves the way we are, these two Texas teams are going to be nasty, my friend. Nasty. Okay. But back to the South Texas Sidewinders, right? Well, you can also use that to say go Toros. I'm just saying. But always, John, you know where the ink is.
Yep.
So the Sidewinders, again, not trying to bash them, don't know anything about them, never got a chance to meet them or talk to them. Okay. But I do believe it was an arena team that was trying to find some place to pop in. They thought this was going to be a good fit for them. Turned out not to be. So next man up, right? Continental Football League and Manny and company, they're not going to wait around. They're looking for people that are serious about this and that are willing to commit. So they're looking at another couple of teams that were kind of, they had reservations to get into the league. Okay.
Wait
Uh,
list.
and so, Manny and everybody, they're going to vet them. They're going to make sure that they have the right team here. And we will have that team, I'm sure, in a very reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And as soon as we know, we'll share. But that's kind of the latest update that we have for
Now,
you.
hopefully, I know we've talked about this. I hope it's somewhere. I felt like the teams were a little too close together. The four that they had. I know they really want to be real big, real intentional about like regional and stuff like that. But Texas is a big ass state. Like we kind of stretch our arms a little bit. Get some room. So put a team kind of up. northern part or whatever. Let them hang out up there, and then we can all kind of hover around the state a little bit.
Hmm. Or heck, we can even go a little bit northeast, right? And you know, if we could find something in College Station, I mean, why
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
Right? Because that would work too, and that still covers the geographic requirements. Or, if we had to, I feel bad about this, but if we had to, Shreveport. We don't drive to Shreveport in less than 8 hours. It's not that big of a deal,
no, not that bad of a
you
drive.
know? So, um, so Freddie, as far as this goes, um, let's address your comments. First and foremost, we here at Texans Talking Football, well, I'm sorry, SAJ at Texans Talking Football is 100% on board, bought in with this program because this is basically a crowd-funded model. There are sponsorships, there are people putting money up to support the team and everything, but it's ultimately driven by the fans for the fans. You put your money up, you help support the team sticks around. So I love that model. Okay. Um, as far as feeling like everything was rushed, well, no, actually not. If you go back and watch some of our earlier episodes where we started talking about the COFL in the first place, there's a bunch of information that we've shared with you guys about how this all kind of came about and where this whole concept came from and the funding and all these other things, the business plan that everybody's using, and maybe not specifics about it, but how they're using a tried and true business method for all the teams that they're bringing in, and it's working. So that part is definitely not rushed. Okay. As far as the all the teams being in Texas in the South, again, going back to the geographic restrictions, the COFL wants to make sure that you don't have more than 8 hours of travel for the team or for the fans because that helps cut down on costs overall, right? It is a cost saving measure. Not a bad idea overall, especially if, you know, for this being a double A
Yeah.
league, you want to make sure that you're watching the dollars and the cents. So that's why all the teams were kind of established here. But again, like we just said, the San Angelo team is out. So it's up for grabs. We could possibly get one over in Shreveport or Oklahoma or something like that. New Mexico, I think, is a little too far to spec out right now, right? Because from San Antonio to El Paso, that's 8 hours. Okay.
A
Uh,
boring 8 hours
that
too.
that might be a little bit tough to go, outside that. Now, uh, right here, as far as adding a team to New Mexico, it's not a bad idea. But that could be potential expansion for the future, right? That whole west area, that might be perfect for the league to expand into maybe next season. And that could be part of the West Division. And then they expand east into like Georgia, Tennessee, things like that. And that could be the East Division, right? There's opportunity for growth all over the place. And then once those expand, then you can add more teams. And we can get to the point, if it's done correctly, where this could be a very well structured organization, a very well structured large organization, not just 8 teams, but maybe 16 or 32, God forbid. The one thing it's not going to be, though, and make sure you note me or you document me on this, is what he was trying to say. This is not going to be a replacement for the NFL, nor is it going to try and be direct competition for the NFL. Too many leagues have tried to do that. Too many leagues have failed. The COFL is not trying to go against the NFL or even the CFL.
Yeah.
They've got friends in both of those. They're trying to develop players into better players to then give them an opportunity to move on with their career. And that's what this is. This is an opportunity for people to get better at their craft to then go to the big leagues and be good. Okay. So, as far as the expansions and the teams and where they're laid out and everything like that, all great information, guys. And thank you so much for sharing. We probably ought to put together a poll, Brian, and see where we think the next team should land in the South here for the COFL, and just see some ideas that we come up with,
Hmm.
right? So fans be on the lookout for that. That's going to be come out here in the next probably day or so, because at some point I got to sleep. But
What? No, you don't.
I do. But anyways, all that to say, again, and I love the questions, guys. I love the questions. Please make sure you keep them coming. Whenever you have any questions or doubt, or you think this thing looks, maybe a little hokey or whatever, share them with us. Okay. I want to be able to do everything I can to answer every question that you have so that you feel good about buying into the system.
Yeah.
Okay. Buying a ticket in this league is more than just buying a ticket for a football game. You're actually supporting a whole organization. Okay. Um, so here, Midland to San Antonio is about 6 hours, 6.5 hours,
Is it six? I thought
right?
it was like four, five.
It might. I'd have to go back and look again. But yeah, it's definitely not. It's less than 8, right?
I'm gonna see what Google
Um,
Maps tells me right now. 4 hours
okay,
and 50 minutes. So we'd probably make that in about 4.
we're making it in 4. The bus would make it in about 6.
Yeah.
So, so there you go. We would have plenty of time to crack a cold one and wait for the guys. Um, but again, I'm 100% bought in. I have no problems telling you guys that. I want to make sure that I'm doing my part to help you guys answer your questions that you have, so that way you don't have a problem buying in and have any doubt about it. Because again, this is more than just buying a ticket, right? Uh, you can be a fan and just buy a ticket, right? You can buy season tickets. They also have different sponsorship packages where you buy season tickets and then you get extra perks with it, such as like stock ownership. The more you buy, the bigger the prize you get with it. There's one that SAJ might be looking at where he might even potentially be able to get a real jersey. So I'm just saying, right? The sky's kind of the limit. So
Yeah.
we will get into all that and we have more information that we're allowed to share with you. I know we're allowed to talk about some of the stuff, but I want to make sure that there's representatives from the league here talking about it to share that with you. So that way, when you do have questions, you guys can go straight to the source as well. Because again, we're trying to make sure that we're sharing everything that we have with you guys so you know that this is a viable league. But it all starts with the fan support. So
Absolutely.
try and wrap that up real quick. Um, Tomorrow, I'm sorry, Thursday, we'll probably do another Texans talking football because we've got some more guests now that we finally talked to some people. San Antonio Gunslingers, uh, they've been making some moves, right? We keep talking about how we're not necessarily hearing a whole bunch. Uh, the problem is because I haven't really been paying attention because I went to look at the website today. Man, there's a ton of new names and a ton of new faces. And so now I've got to try and figure out this whole thing. Just like now I'm finding out that the Gunslinger is going to have a mascot,
I
right?
saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. And people are saying that we already have a mascot, and so it's going to be really interesting. Um, all that to say, there's a lot going on, right? And now we're getting at that point where things are going to start cranking up, and the news
I
is
mean,
going to be
yeah,
coming
we
in.
we've only got 2.5 weeks left of NFL football. And what I mean,
Yeah.
once the Super Bowl comes in, that's when all these other leagues come in all quick and heavy. And I mean, so
Yep.
it's just this is well, we got the championship games this weekend, but next week that's kind of going to be like the slow week before everything starts kicking off.
Yep. So expect us to kind of pick up our information in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be very alternative football heavy because that's what's going to be kind of in the
Yeah.
spotlight. Um, I will say, I'm watching the Beaumont Renegades over in the AF1. I think it's the AF1. Uh, oh, there he is, my guy. What's up, Timmy?
What's up, Tim?
Um, Beaumont Renegades haven't
You're number
posted
two, by
anything.
the way, Jay. Just want to let you know.
Brian, you'll always be number two in my heart. Oh, that was a good one. We haven't seen a whole bunch of updates from Beaumont. Again, it is the off season, and
Yeah.
the league that they're in probably isn't necessarily as big as the IFL, and so they're not going to be making nearly as much noise. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And UFL Isaac, uh, I mean, something in the Panhandle may not be a bad idea. Or heck, I mean, how far is it from Austin to Oklahoma City? You know, the Oklahoma Pioneers. That would not necessarily be a bad, name either. Or the
Yeah, but then
Oklahoma
you got to
Dust
go to
Bowl.
Oklahoma, and nobody really wants to do that.
I mean, you're right, but still, we want to make sure that, this league is all encompassing and allowing for everybody. Anyways, guys,
Except
that's
for
everything that's
Oklahoma.
going on. Yeah, except Oklahoma. Um, B, we're way over, and I think we need to land this plane. You got anything at this point?
I don't, man, and I'm kind of. I don't even have a suck it for this week because like my hate watching is done. The 49ers lost. That was my last hate watch. Now I'm just watching the playoffs because I love football. So, you know,
Uh, um, I gotta agree with you, right? At this point, my hate watching is done also, but I can't just let it go at that, man. You know me, okay? Chicago, you knew you were going to lose at some point in time. 40 years of irrelevancy keeps happening again and again and again. And it couldn't happen to a worse organization. Okay. You guys talk about how great you are, how much you're stuck on the Bears being the best team in the world. You proved it once again. You fell flat on your face. Good luck, suckers. We'll see you next year. Okay. Uh Freddie, actually, this has actually been addressed. The team's going to be playing at the University of Incarnate Word. So Trinity was, I believe, potentially one of the destinations, which was not a bad destination, but it wasn't quite big enough. It only holds about like 3,000, right? And they needed something that's going to be a little bit bigger. So, and then Tim, uh, Tim, I'm going to let you go ahead and have the last sucket of our show, and we're going to sign off with that. And yes, suck it, Rams. So,
yeah.
guys, make sure you watch some football this weekend.
Jake,
Cheer your
Mama
favorite.
said it's time to get off.
That's why I'm getting off right now. Cheer on your favorite team or the team you hate the most. And we'll see you guys next week. All right. Take
Later,
care.
guys.
See you soon.